Who could fall in love in White Wolf of Icicle Creek? Who's gonna have a romantic time skiing, then snuggling up close to the fire? The fire, of course, comes from the kitchen, because Nancy burnt the quesadillas again. Nancy Drew with burnt quesadillas. No, I'm kidding. Let's go through the list of characters and see if any stick out as a good boyfriend for Nancy. Ollie Randall seems like a solid pick, as he's the character she interacts with the most. He's the only one who knows Nancy's a detective, he confides in her, and he gives her a joking wink in the opening scenes. But while he certainly cares about Nancy, it's not romantic. He seems to think of her as just a kid. That's the first thing he says to Nancy. "You're not much older than my little girl Freddie." I don't think Nancy or Ollie would think of romance together. Bill Kessler also cares about Nancy. He's worried she got hurt in the sauna, and he even wakes up from his nap to help her with the pyramid puzzle. On the other hand, he lies to her and everybody else about his past. He forces her to do ice fishing when she clearly doesn't want to, and he has a sick obsession with playing fox and geese. Nancy would 100% date someone with a puzzle obsession? Does Ned like puzzles? He must. Why would Nancy stick around with him if he doesn't? Tino Balducci is a no. Nancy clearly dislikes him in this game. She's sarcastic when talking about him, and sometimes she's rude when talking directly to him. Yanni seems to care about Nancy slightly more than the other characters. He doesn't talk to the others, but he talks to Nancy. He tells her the dramatic story of his grandmother's death to apologize for his earlier rudeness. Then again, he says he has no desire at all to help her learn how to ski. He doesn't apologize for that rudeness. I'm not sure why Yanni is vaguely nice to Nancy. Maybe he's just pretending to be nice to her so she won't suspect him of being the culprit. But why would he do that if he doesn't know she's a detective? He could be so paranoid he's being nice to her just in case she's a secret detective, but he doesn't bother doing that with the others, just Nancy. Lou Talbot seems to like Nancy. He doesn't get mad at her in the scene where she tries to steal his snowshoes, but once you expose him as a dinosaur bone thief, he gets so mad he runs away from the lodge. So, I've got reasons against all the guys in this game as boyfriends for Nancy. I don't think Nancy would date anyone in this game. Nancy Drew and no one. Ollie Randall's married. Ollie with Mrs. Randall. There's no reason to believe their relationship is anything other than solid. Freddie Randall is a girl around the same age as Lukas from The Captive Curse or Jane from Curse of Blackmore Manor. She would probably like Lukas better. Lukas and Freddie both like playing the same minigame over and over again, whereas Jane likes playing a variety of minigames. Bill Kessler seems to like everyone in general, but nobody in particular. He likes Lou. He enjoys playing games with Lou, especially Fox and Geese. He gets mad at Lou when Lou beats him at ice skating. Similarly, when he's fishing against Nancy, he cares more about the fishing competition than about Nancy almost dying in an explosion. Bill hates the Moique so much he writes a threatening note about them. He doesn't interact with Guadalupe, but she seems to think he's boring. Bill's conversations with Ollie seem to be limited to Bill complaining about ice fishing. So dang, Bill sure is unpopular, huh? I'm thinking Bill with no one. That makes two people with no one so far. Lou Talbot is kind of hard to read. He seems pretty laid back until you expose him as a dinosaur bone thief. He gives a little speech to shake it off, and then he runs away from the lodge without telling anyone. That seems pretty extreme for a laid-back guy who says, "Excitement's over, dude." Since Lou is a weird artist type, I'm going to pair him with Poppy Dada. According to the newspaper article, Lou knows about Poppy's art, and it inspires him. He seems sincere about his love of art and his pursuit of greatness. He seems totally wrong about that, but he does seem sincere. So Lou and Poppy Dada, they can work together on a dirt-related painting and fall in love. I think they'd probably get into a huge fight over something stupid, like Lou left his socks out on the sofa. Poppy misinterprets it as a metaphor for the impermanence of feelings and figures he's trying to break up with her, when the truth is he's just lazy about laundry. Yanni is an interesting one, as he has a real bad boy vibe, combined with a bit of allure. There's a reason Chantal thinks he'd be successful in attracting new clients to the lodge simply by being there. He definitely seems like a better international skier than Jacques Brunet from Treasure in the Royal Tower. He's a little too gruff for me. Some people like his bluntness, but I think it's more rudeness than honesty. Yanni is extremely paranoid about his enemies. I thought he was making that up as a cover story for his actions, but he seems pretty sincere. He's very paranoid and won't trust anyone. Sadly for him, he was not paranoid enough to use a Geiger counter when searching the lodge for bugs. Honestly, I would like to see him with Zoe Wolf from The Silent Spy because she's also involved in international spy drama. Say she was specifically sent to investigate Yanni. They get wrapped up in a cat and mouse game, which ends in heartbreak because one of them has to betray the other. Or he pops up in the course of another investigation. Say the materials he was smuggling for Fredonia are used to create the deadly formula in The Silent Spy. So when Zoe tries to tie up all the loose ends surrounding Revenant, she ends up having to speak with Yanni. Story could work. Guadalupe Comillo is hard to match with anyone because she's gone for most of the game. She complains that all the other guests are slobs because they're single men. She doesn't seem to like any of them. If you ask her about the other characters, she doesn't care for them at all. Lou seems to be the one she dislikes the least, so I'd pick her and Lou. She's secretly an animal rights activist. I think Red Knot is the other character who cares more about animals than people. That seems like a bad match for Guadalupe, though. I would not want to put her through the suffering that would come from being Red's significant other. Tino Balducci only interacts with Nancy Drew and Chantal Moique. Ollie might know about Tino, but I don't think Ollie ever mentions him. Like I said, Nancy openly dislikes Tino. There is no love lost between the two of them. Tino puts on the charm for Chantal. I don't recall if he's doing that on purpose because he likes her, because he wants to get more money from her, or if he just acts like that normally. He doesn't mention his love interest from Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon, so I'll assume that Tino is no longer dating Lori. I'm going with Tino and Chantal. Honestly, they seem like the only two people in this game who would be a decent couple. Chantal clearly likes Tino. She thinks he's handsome and charming. I can't believe she's paying him to help with this case when she's not paying Nancy at all. Nancy's doing far more to solve the case than Tino is. All Tino does is send a stupid survey from the internet. Towards the end of the game, Chantal says she thinks Tino's kind of a jerk. Uh-oh, there's trouble in paradise. So maybe their relationship wouldn't work out perfectly. Her minor crush on Tino is still the closest this game gets to romance. The game has many other phone characters that I have a hard time remembering, like Sheriff Mohican and Elsa and the Southwaits. Maybe one of them would be a good match for the main characters. I'm not sure. Either way, here are my choices. Nancy Drew with no one, Ollie Randall with his wife, Mrs. Randall, Freddie Randall with Lukas, Bill Kessler with no one, Lou Talbot with Poppy Dada, Yanni Volkstaya with Zoe Wolf, Guadalupe Comillo with Lou Talbot, Tino Balducci with Chantal Moique, and Chantal Moique with Tino Balducci. I thought most of the characters don't have much potential for dating purposes. Maybe the internet disagrees. Let's pull the internet. Nancy Drew with Lou Talbot and none/other. Wow, I did not see Nancy with Lou. Ollie Randall with Yanni, although Bill is a close second. Then Chantal with Guadalupe and none/other as close seconds. There were 2 write-in votes for his wife, and someone said the fights between Ollie and Tino would be great. Freddie Randall with Lukas. I think this is the only pairing in the game that the internet agrees with me on. Bill Kessler with Lou and Guadalupe. Lou Talbot with Nancy Drew. Then there's a tie for Guadalupe and none. Yanni Volkstaya with Ollie Randall and none. I don't know why Ollie and Yanni are a pairing. Is it because they both stay in the basement for most of the game? Guadalupe Comillo with Bill Kessler and none, although Tino is a close second. Tino Balducci with Nancy Drew. Why? Why? And Chantal, because Tino and Chantal deserve each other. Chantal Moique with Ollie Randall and Tino Balducci, with Tino being the clear winner. So the internet says Nancy with Lou, Bill with Guadalupe, Ollie with Yanni, and Tino with Chantal. That's certainly one way to pair up all the characters without any crossed lines.